Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Well, let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from Frosty Nectarine 2635, who says, "Am I the arsehole for snapping at my in-laws for saying my husband ruined his life? My 36 female husband, 36 male, comes from a family of athletes. They put him in boxing as a kid. He was talented and he suffered a lot of pressure from his family. They wanted him to become professional, but my husband never wanted that. In high school, things got worse for him as the school's coaches were brutal and the attention he received from promoters and outside coaches led his family to put more pressure on him. The relationship with his family went south when he informed them he was going to university and giving up boxing for good. Not true, the boxing part. I met him a month before we started high school, and we've been together ever since. When he was 30, his family contacted him to try and fix their relationship. Their relationship is decent, the same with me. Now, we took our children on Sunday to visit them. Sister-in-law and her husband were talking about one of my nephews learning to play the piano and that he is good for his age. Their mother-in-law said, and I quote, "Be careful, you don't want to encourage him only for him to quit and ruin his life," as my husband's name. It seemed like mother-in-law forgot I was there, and they went silent. My husband was out buying some things with his father and his other two brother-in-laws. I was calm and asked her how he ruined his life. His sisters got involved and said that's not what mother-in-law meant and I wouldn't understand. I replied, "No, I don't understand. I don't understand why you wanted to live through him. Why you never listened to him, why you never accepted what he wanted, why you didn't let him be, why you think he ruined his life. I don't get it. If you think it's because I don't know how talented he was, you're wrong because I was there, even when you abandoned him. It wasn't for nothing that he got 2 scholarships and people were after him. I'd understand if he didn't do anything with his life, but that's not the case. He has a degree, an amazing career, built 2 different businesses, and is a great father and husband. He's more successful than all of you combined. Please tell me how he ruined his life or what part I don't understand." And I got silence. I took our children and left. I texted my husband that I was going home. He arrived shortly after and told him what happened, and he's not mad. To be honest, this is the first time I heard these types of comments, and I pretty much blew the relationship he has with his family, and apparently also caused issues with his sister's husbands because they had a different version of why my husband was estranged. Now, to me in this one, you didn't ruin that relationship. They did by being arseholes behind your husband's back. And your husband clearly knows what they are like. And from your husband's point of view, now he knows that they're talking behind his back and being awful people like that. Why would he want to be around them anyway? It kind of had me thinking though, why did they want to get back into his life if they're just going to talk shit behind his back like that? But OP added an edit and a small update the same day, which said, "I never expected this much attention and sorry for not answering every comment. I will clear some points and give you a small update. First of all, thank you for the kind words and the awards. I reacted on instinct and kind of regretted it, but my husband reassured me that it was fine. He would have done the same thing for me, which I know. He's all smiles every time I see him. I'm sorry for those of you who went through the same thing. I'm glad you left that horrible situation and that you're doing what you want. Good job. I should have been clearer. Mother-in-law says he ruined his life because he wasted the chance to be recognized and famous, something they always longed for and couldn't achieve on their own. My husband stopped competing once he finished university and not after high school. He had to do it so he could maintain his scholarship. The children weren't present when I exploded. They were outside playing. His sisters lied to their husbands about the reason why my husband was estranged. They put the blame entirely on him and downplayed what they did. Someone linked a story about a couple who is dealing with the after trauma, and it's heartbreaking. Injuries and trauma are 2 of the main reasons my husband never wanted to make boxing his career. Fortunately, he received minimal damage and sees a specialist once a year to make sure everything is fine. My husband says that over the years he felt something was off, so he's not surprised they haven't changed their opinion of him and that they were just faking it to gain access to our kids. OP then added another small update which says, "Earlier today when we dropped the kids off at school, his sister's husbands were there and wanted to hear my husband's version. We went to have breakfast and he told them everything. From their reaction, it was clear that their wives were still downplaying the whole thing. According to one of them, his wife is starting to display the same traits as mother-in-law. So, yeah. We agreed to talk on Saturday to plan how we're going to move forward with our children. They go to the same school and are very close. We don't want to disrupt their relationship. As for his parents, we're going to talk to them on Saturday to let them know how their relationship with our children and us is going to be from now on. Thanks to all of you again. And then there was a relevant comment from OP which just said, the worst part is that my husband's parents didn't want him to go to university. They wanted him to go pro right after high school. In fact, he was able to go to a pretty nice high school and get good education because his then coach and him tricked his parents. Then OP adds one more update which says, some asked me for an update, so here it is. During the week, we're talking to our kids and asked them, without being obvious, how they have been treated by their grandparents. We got positive responses. They've been treated well, to be clear. We talked to everyone on Sunday without the kids, and my husband was the one who did the talking. First, it was his parents. They tried to apologize, but my husband cut them short. He said that we weren't there for apologies or explanations, but to talk about their new relationship with us. He told them that we are no longer going to take the kids to their house anymore, that they will have 2 visits per month and will be supervised by us. They will be the ones who plan activities, and they have to inform us with enough time so that we can approve them. The only time they will see the kids besides their 2 times is for birthdays and holidays, to keep their opinions of him or me to themselves, as at the moment they run their mouths with our kids present. It will be the last time they will see them, and for us we'll be civil, but that's it. They agreed, and before we left they told us that they are separating, to which my husband replied that he doesn't care. The visits and rules are the same regardless of their marital situation. We could split the visits to 1 each, or they could have 2 together, but that's up to them. The visitations will begin after their situation is resolved. Later that day, we visited his sisters and their husbands, all gathered in one house. Pretty much the same drill, but he listened to his sister. His sisters apologized and told us that they are going to therapy again. They asked my husband if he was willing to go with them at some point, but he refused. He told them that their relationship is way too broken to mend, that he harbors no ill feeling towards them, and the only thing he will give them is common decency, that it is good that they're going to therapy again and hopes they take it seriously now because their kids and husbands deserve better. With that being said, he proposed that things continue more or less the same. We take our kids to their house and they bring theirs to ours, but with the exceptions of visits from his parents. We explained them the deal with my in-laws and that my sisters and parents are still willing to maintain the same relationship with the kids, but not so much with them. Any comment from them like the one my mother did and everything will stop. If they have another plan, we could work it out. They all agreed with our plan. For now, everyone is looking to keep things civil for the kids, which I think is a good thing. Anyway, my husband and I draw lines and we will make sure they don't cross them. And then a couple of more relevant comments. When asking why the parents are separating, OP responded saying, from what we know, it's because he no longer shares the same views that his still wife has about my husband. But it could be because he is trying to get a better deal from us regarding the kids. Hard to tell right now. Then more about the sisters. They are 2, 3, and 4 years older than him. The reason why he doesn't want to try therapy with them is because how they treated him and this situation. When they find out my husband was talented, they resented him. You can change resent with your strongest favorite word. A lot, because he was good and they weren't shy about it. After a while, they accepted that they would never make it, so they started pretending to be nice to him while pressure him the same way their parents did to him. For him right now, they are not really trying to fix their relationship with him, but their husbands. They knew back then that what they were doing was wrong. They had 12 years to be better. These past 6 years, I dare to say they had a friendly relationship. He released his bad feelings towards them a long time ago, and he didn't develop any this time. He tried with them, but they haven't changed. They were pretending like in the past. And now I'm going to turn this one straight to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from Big Bumblebee 5795, who says, am I the arsehole for not answering any contact from work while on maternity leave? I work for my cousin. We're in the same field, but he owns a business. I started working for him 5 years ago and worked my way up to second or third in command at his fairly small company. I took 9 months of maternity leave, starting 2 weeks before my due date. My child is now 6 months old, meaning I'm currently in my 7th month of leave, and I go back to work in about 10 weeks. During the last 7 months, there has been a few crises at work. They called me and I fixed it. I should not have been doing this due to my maternity leave, but I didn't mention it because these were legitimate crises. And most of the time it was my cousin asking. However, because I'm entering the end of my leave, I want some time completely free of work to recharge before I have to dive back in. So, starting 2 weeks ago, I stopped answering my phone. At some point it died, so I put it in a drawer and haven't plugged it in since. I have a landline for emergencies, a laptop to keep in touch with people, and a TV for entertainment, so I'm enjoying the break from the phone without issue. However, my cousin tried to call me about a week ago to help with a client I handle. I'd passed this client on to someone else, but something went wrong. My cousin called me to help, and because I didn't answer, we lost the client. I know their contract was up for renewal, but I didn't think there would be any issues, so I saw no reason to check my phone. My cousin has told our family what happened. He's furious with me for not having my phone turned on when I knew that client would be up for renewal. He also says that as I've been answering my phone this whole time, I should have warned someone that I would be uncontactable. I've called the client and tried to fix it, but they've already signed on with someone else. My cousin, wanting to stop this from happening again, as several more clients are up for renewal in the next couple of months, has said I have to be more available for the next couple of months, so he can call me if there's another issue. I have said I am on maternity leave, and therefore I should be left alone, so I will be leaving my phone off, and it's shitty of him to ask otherwise. My cousin said that I was being selfish and accused me of trying to fuck him over, and my mother and aunt agree with him, saying that if I don't answer my phone, there may not be a company to come back to, and accuse me of taking advantage of him because he's my cousin, as anyone else would have fired me over this. I've responded that if my cousin can't run his own business without me, then he's incompetent and shouldn't be in charge of an omelette, let alone a company. They said that was uncalled for and told me to switch my mobile on now so he can call me if needs, but I'm still refusing. Am I the arsehole? Edit. Why do people think I went away with no plans in place? I had 6 months between figuring out I need the leave and going on leave, and I spent those 6 months assigning my clients to co-workers, bringing people up to speed on said clients, and even holding meetings when I introduced the clients to their new handlers. I worked all of this out months ago. And we're going to go straight to the comments with Lucy Lou 812 who says, "Oh my god, the audacity of this man. Maternity leave means you take time off away from the job. In my country, once someone goes on maternity leave, they're uncontactable, and it's not an option to call them to ask them favors or even advice. Not the arsehole." OP quotes a section and says, "Technically, that's how it works where we are too. But because he's my cousin and because there were urgent issues and because of my rank in the company, I felt obligated to help." Potential Gap says, "Everyone sucks here. He shouldn't have called you on maternity leave, but you had been answering the phone all through the previous 7 months. I don't think anyone can blame him for expecting you to still be taking work calls at the end as well. You should have just made it clear at the beginning that you weren't going to take any work calls at all." Langji says in quotes, "Accuse me of taking advantage of him because he's my cousin, as anyone else would have fired me over this," and then says, "No, quite the opposite. When my wife was on maternity leave, the company made sure to shut down her email and turn off her access to the network. They were not allowed to contact her about work as it is against the law. You answering any question during the leave was a favor to him. You can actually sue, but I assume you're not going to do it because it's family. Not the arsehole, they should learn the law. Not sure how long the FMLA extends to in your state, but the first couple of favors probably were breaking the law." Water Buffalo says, and quotes, "I've responded that if my cousin can't run his own business without me, then he's incompetent and shouldn't be in charge of an omelette, let alone a company." And goes on to say, "You just made an argument for you being fired. If he doesn't need you to run his business, why is he paying you? Everyone sucks here. He's right that you should have given him a heads up that you wouldn't be reachable. And your family is right that you may not have a job to come back to if your role is vital to the company." Alberto says, "You're the arsehole. Disclaimer, no workplace should expect an employee of any kind to be contactable during any form of leave, be it annual leave, sick leave, or maternity or paternity leave. Where I think you're the arsehole here though, is that by not saying from the start that you were uncontactable, you created the expectation that you would be available to some degree. You should have nipped it in the bud at the beginning. It is also perfectly reasonable of you to get to a point down the line where you say enough is enough and tell them that for the remainder of your leave you will not be contactable. But to just go no contact without alerting anyone was not professional. So if the real question was actually, am I the arsehole for not answering any contact from work while on maternity leave, then no, you wouldn't have been, not in the slightest, but by your own account, that is not what happened. You answered some contact from work, which you shouldn't have, and then from their perspective, randomly stopped. That's where you became the arsehole in my opinion. Sunny says not the arsehole. I suggest you start looking for a new job right now and put in your notice before going back. You are on maternity leave. You are supposed to be focusing on your child and not work. If your cousin can't comprehend that and comes running to you for every time something goes wrong, he's not fit to run a company. And one more comment from Keep, who says not the arsehole OP. And rest assured, please for the love of God, that the client they lost was not due to your absence. I'm sorry, I'm sure you are invaluable to the company, I'm not debating that, but unless yours is a truly mom and pop outfit, clients don't randomly switch contracts without at least a reasonable explanation. They may not share it with you, but it's usually reasonable. You did not cause them to lose the client. And your point about the cousin not being in charge of an omelette was actually quite valid. Besides, isn't that rich? He's so upset that you're so invaluable that without you the company might collapse, that he's insulting you and threatening to fire you. Oh irony. Thou asked abundant on Reddit today. OP responded saying, I spoke to the clients and they told me the actual series of events, which is, in a nutshell, they went to a meeting and told my cousin they had a better offer from another company, and they wanted him to match it. He said the contract terms wouldn't change and they could take it or leave it. They left it. He then called me wanting to smooth things over, but I was unavailable. So then OP came in to update the post, which says, first off, thank you for the support, advice and differing perspectives you provided on my first post. Most of you agreed that I should not be working for my cousin. I mentioned on the last post that I'd had some offers from competitors, and while most paid about the same, they required a step down in my career. A few of you pointed out that if I can earn the same money after a step down, something isn't matching up. I did some research and came to the conclusion that I am being overworked and underpaid. I also triple checked all my notes for the last 7 months of leave and calculated that I worked for 87 days out of just over 200. That was where I hit my limit. I then reached out to some of the people who had made offers previously and asked if they could give me a formal offer. 3 of them did. My favourite has fewer hours and responsibilities and more money, and they're fine waiting on me to finish my planned maternity leave, 9 more weeks before I start. I had a check-in day scheduled for later this month, but pulled it forward to Monday and asked my cousin and a few others to be there. I laid out all the above. I was open to negotiating in a way that would let me stay in the company, but cousin flew off the handle. And after that, we agreed that me staying was no longer an option. As I have 9 weeks of leave left, I will hand in my notice, meaning I will not come back to work, but I will be paid for this time, as well as compensated for the leave I lost. My cousin has blocked me on everything, but his mum has called my mum, who has been yelling at me for 2 days. I've had to block my own mother. My cousin is attempting to rally our entire family against me, but I have Nan on my side, so he is not succeeding. I'm never working with family again. Good old Nan having your back, I love to see it. But I gotta say, I did find it incredibly strange that this guy is the owner of a company. Instead of talking it out in a decent, logical way, he runs to his aunt and mum. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? There was a lot of mixed comments on the first part of the post. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support and time always means the absolute world to me. I know how important your time is. So spending 20 minutes or so with me on the daily, a couple of times a day sometimes, is absolutely incredible. So thank you so much. And don't forget there'll be a couple of playlists at the end of the video if you want to listen to more Reddit stories, and it will automatically scroll through the videos for you. So whatever you're doing, running, art, whatever it is, don't forget to let me know. By the way, I was talking about train sets the other day, how I love looking at them and Jamie over on Twitter sent me his dad's setup, and holy moly, I was blown away by it. But yeah, whatever you're up to, I love to see it. And just a huge thank you for spending your time with me today. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love. You cheeky so-and-so.